All right, so for those who are just joining, I am at Chateau Cheverny. I'm in the Loire Valley in France, and I wanted to share this with you. It's these gorgeous gardens. If you can believe it, 500,000 tulips. It's one of the biggest tulip collections in the Loire Valley, and I wanted to share it with you today. So, but here is the chateau. So it's not that far from Paris, you know. Getting out to the Loire Valley from Paris is pretty easy. It's by train. If you don't like driving in France or that kind of intimidates you, you know, you can get drivers. There's tour groups out here, but that house is really something spectacular, isn't it? But we're here for the tulips, so let's go take a look. Now, when you are here for the tulips here at Chateau Cheverny, 500,000, you will want to take a look at their Instagram if you're trying to time it, because it's, you know, it really depends on the weather. But we're gonna go and take a look at them because they are all in bloom right now. So I'm so excited for you guys to come along with me. This is sort of impromptu. I don't usually do lives on YouTube, but I wanted to save it here for you guys to be able to look at in the future. So instead of looking at me, let's go look at the tulips, and I'll tell you about the castle behind me because the family still lives in it, if you can believe it. 6 generations now have lived in this castle. They also, right behind me, those are vineyards. They still grow wine here on the property as well. So, but you're here for the tulips, so let's take a look and see. There you go. 500,000 tulips every year, if you can believe it. And we are at the peak of it. They're just starting to fade a little bit because the weather has warmed up. So I'm American, and it is, for me, I still struggle with Celsius, but it is 71 degrees here today. So this is a really interesting castle because, and the property itself, they raise hunting dogs. It's known for its wine. You can see the vineyards right there. Its hunting dog program, which is still active, and the fact that the family has lived in this same property still to this day, 6 generations. But I'm bringing you here for the tulips. Now, real quick, for those of you who are interested, I'm doing a whole entire series out here right now. I'm in the middle of production and filming it, but after today's work, I stopped off in the area so I could show this to you. So I hope you like this. Isn't that pretty? So the Floral family has been at this property and in this home for more than 6 generations, if you can believe it. They were financiers and officers in service of several kings of France. But the castle in the springtime is known for its huge tulip fields. Isn't that fun? This is one of the largest castles in the Loire Valley. And when you purchase a ticket to access the gardens, you can also choose to take a boat out onto the lake there. You can see they still have it all decorated for Easter, which is a big thing here in France. There you go. Their castle is still inhabited by the descendants of the Heralds, and it is the Marquis and Marchioness of Vibray. The property was owned by Diane de Poitiers at one point, the mistress of King Henry II. I think gardens like this are so special to visit here in France. Look at how they did the alleys. The purple and the apricot, red, yellow. It's so beautiful. It's like a rainbow. I always get so inspired about my own gardens. Here we go. And then up and over this way, you've got even more swaths of tulips, but you can see they're really at the end of it, right? So then what do you do? What do you do if you're not really sure how to time your visit here in the Loire Valley? Well, that's a good question. So I would say that timing your visit to the Loire Valley depends upon the flower that you really enjoy. And for me, it's the rose, which has a much longer bloom season. You know, like going to Paris this time of the year, it's really important to time it with maybe, say, the cherry blossom season or magnolias. The cherry blossoms I highly recommend in Paris, Chateau. It has the largest cherry blossom orchards in all of Ile-de-France. It's a very quick and easy day trip from Paris. I mean, not even a day trip. Honestly, it's like half hour, 45 minutes by the metro. And it has a chateau there, right? Kind of like a mini Versailles. It houses the Museum of Ile-de-France, which is the region that Paris is in, right? But on the grass in front of it, unlike Versailles, you can picnic. And it's dog friendly there too. The cherry blossom orchards at Parc du Sceau there's two of them. They're right next to each other. Sometimes people miss that. There's one that is all white and one that's all pink. Let's talk about magnolias, for example, which have a much longer bloom season than tulips, but you still might miss out on them, right? So the magnolias, my favorite, are in Paris, Palais Royal. And then Jardin des Plantes has a fantastic collection of them. And there's also some magnolias in Jardin de Luxembourg. Tulips are a bit harder to plant for, especially when you come out someplace outside of Paris, right? So perhaps one thing to consider is, if you are a garden fan, is something that lasts a little bit longer, like roses. A personal favorite of mine, if you know me. I have 100 and counting in my garden. But any time that you come out to the Loire and the castles, their gardens are absolutely magnificent, right? So in some ways it doesn't really matter, unless it's the peak, like the hottest time of the year. When would I not suggest? Well, if you're sensitive to heat, I wouldn't suggest coming out here in the top parts of the summer, right? July and August is too much, way too hot. And all the plants start to struggle because in many regions in France, it's now illegal to water. And even for protected properties, many gardeners, your best gardeners, are now choosing to put in drought-tolerant plants and flowers so that the impact doesn't hurt the agriculture around the chateau. And this is an important discussion, right? The climate change. So come when your favorite flower is in bloom. Other gardeners and other gardens in France, like Chateau Chambord, have incredible gardens year-round, right? And incredible, just beautiful gardens regardless of the time of the year. So there is no bad time to come, but if you have a favorite plant or time of the year, that's great, especially if it doesn't have a short blooming season. I don't know about you, but some of my favorite plants are like wisteria and lilacs. That's just too hard to plan for. One thing that I've learned in being out here is there is two different types. I thought it was wisteria, but I was wrong. It's a sumac, and it blooms first before the glycine, the wisteria, does. And it's really incredible. It's not quite as leafy, and the flowers are just so purple and brilliant. They're blooming all around here. So if you are uh, at all interested, I have been sharing a lot of those images lately. So again, for those who are just joining, I'm at Chateau Cheverny. They plant 500,000 tulips every spring, and this is just at the end of the show, but I wanted to share it with you. 6 generations, if you can believe it, 6 generations of family have lived here, and it's still privately owned. One of the largest castles in the Loire Valley. I'm just coming up on it now, so I'll show it to you in just a moment. I hope you're having fun watching this and some of my tips if you are a garden lover, to come here. Now, what are some of the best gardens in the Loire if you aren't familiar? Well, certainly Villandry, right? Chambord. But there's also these kind of bucolic parks that I really love down here. I live up in Brittany, so I come down here semi-frequently. I'm trying to get down here more because I just really love it. But some of the bucolic, like sweeter parks that I love and gardens are like a Azalea Rideau, more intimate, and they have a secret garden that is just absolutely beautiful. I just shared it with you the other day. So let me turn this around so you can see the castle, right? There you go. Can you believe that? I mean, it's just fascinating to think that that whole families have lived there for 6 generations nonstop. I also like the color. If you have been to Versailles and are familiar with the Petit Trianon, the windowsills and the window frames remind me of the same color of the Petit Trianon. It is a beautiful day here. I don't know what the temperature is in Celsius because I'm really bad at that. But it is about 71 degrees, and you can see people are in the vineyards right now working on them. The other thing, as I mentioned earlier, that this castle is known for is its hunting dog program, but I won't go into that now. So I hope you enjoyed this brief little tour of the beautiful gardens of Chateau Cheverny, an impromptu live stream just for you. I appreciate all of you who are here and part of the community. If you are new, bienvenue. I am an American living and working full-time in France, and I share travel moments like this, as well as just a more intimate look at what it means to be not an expat, I'm an immigrant. I'm an American immigrant living full-time in France, and my goal is to share with you the beauty of the culture and what it's really truly like to live here without the sugarcoating, right? Because that doesn't help anybody. If you are interested at all in living in France, or perhaps just coming here for extended stays or travel, my channel is there for you. So feel free to subscribe because that always helps me out. And in the meantime, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful spring. Thank you for coming on this walk with me. And as I always sign off, bisous and bonne journée. Au revoir.